Sex is a part of everybody's life. If you have the right kind of information, it can be very beneficial to you. The problem with today is not very many kids have the opportunity to know the truth, and that's why I feel that sex education is important in schools. Sex education is the process of acquiring information about sex, relationships, and intimacy. Parents seem to think that if their kids go to school and they learn about sex, it's going to increase sexual activity or their kids' chances of having sex at a young age. That couldn't be further from the truth. Not only does it teach about sex and contraception and all the good facts that you need to know before having sex, but it also teaches you how to build stronger relationships, how to communicate better, and how just to overall be a better person and not just looking at other people as objects. Sex education also provides information on abuse, exploitation, pregnancies that are unwanted, and STDs. It's only helpful if the students gain life skills throughout this process as well. That means that gaining really good communication skills is also something that should be involved when they learn about sex education, which usually happens when it's taught in school. It provides accurate information, unlike if they didn't have a sex education class, then they'd probably get information off the streets or from their peers that wasn't 100% true. Most sex education classes also teach about sexual development, reproduction, contraceptions and birth control, and relationships. Sex education works best if it's started before puberty with age-appropriate material. This means probably about 5th grade you should probably start, learning about sex and just the common knowledge. By 5th grade, most kids are already going to hear about sex. They're already going to know what it is, but they're not going to have any facts. So I know when I was in 5th grade, I learned about just the basic body parts of a human. That also is involved in sex education because the more you know about what it is and what it does, it's just general information that you should know. According to avert.org, in 48 studies of comprehensive sex and STD education programs in U.S. schools, there was evidence that sex ed reduced sexual activity in students or it increased use in contraceptives or both. To me, that is an outstanding number because it's very rare that students understand fully what happens. But the truth is, when I went through sex education, sex was pretty much gross to me after that. We watched a video on birth. We watched several videos about how it happened, what happened, and it just wasn't fun to watch. I think that sex education would be beneficial in schools just because it's information that's needed to know, and it will stop unwanted pregnancies, and it will keep pregnancy levels down. In today's society, it is actually required by law that each school has a sex education program. The problem with this is there are 2 different kinds of programs that each school has a choice of teaching. And so, as a parent, you would need to know what program your student's going to be learning. The first one is abstinence only. That basically says all it teaches about is sex, what sex is, having sex, and they say don't have it. I don't find that a very beneficial program just because it doesn't teach about how to protect yourself during sex. It doesn't teach about STDs. It doesn't teach anything but don't have sex. The other program is traditional, and that teaches you basically an overall background of everything. It teaches you what sex is, contraceptives, birth, pregnancy, the whole 9 yards. Most schools today try to teach a happy medium of both. They'll go into detail on contraceptives and STDs, but they'll also explain what abstinence is and how it can also be beneficial. And that is honestly the number one way to not get an STD or not to have an unexpected pregnancy is just don't have sex. So I think overall a mixture of the two would probably be the best sex education class to have. Sex education is very important, and I feel that it is a very good thing that all schools are required to teach it. And even though there are some argumentative points that parents may have, in the end, sex education is honestly the better way to go so students get accurate information. And either way you look at it, your student will eventually still have to come to you because they might still have questions after the class is over. Any questions?